What's going on, Jerome's? Still at an undisclosed location for the time being, but have some low production value news as the Minnesota Vikings have waived backup cornerback John Reid. And John Reid had signed this offseason. He's a 2020 fourth-round pick out of Penn State. And the Vikings, even though the Vikings have a lot of question marks at cornerback, they are relatively deep with Byron Murphy, as well as the Caleb Evans, and Mekhi Blackman, and Andrew Booth Jr., and all the other rookies, Joanne Williams signed as a free agent, et cetera. So there was a backlog at the cornerback position, and now the Vikings have 89 players on the 90-man roster. And also, what's important is that the Vikings technically have 2 roster spots open right now, since rookie edge rusher Junior Aho from SMU, since he's an international pathway player, he doesn't technically count on the 90-man or the practice squad if he does make it. So technically, the Vikings have a 91-man roster. So the question is what the Vikings are going to do with those 2 open roster spots. And we've theorized this before. Most teams go into camp with 4 quarterbacks, where the Vikings only have 3 right now, with Kirk Cousins, Nick Mullins, as well as rookie Jaron Hall. So adding a camp arm could make sense, or adding an extra offensive lineman, since they currently only have 14, as well as Brian O'Neill probably isn't going to be participating at the start of training camp in any significant manner. So the Vikings could add a lineman or 2, as teams generally like to have 15, so they have 3 complete offensive line units, 1, 2, 3, or they could sign some linebacker depth, or they could add another defensive lineman, or they could add a corner, or they could add an edge rusher just in case things don't work out with Danielle Hunter. I don't know. Or, and this is something that's been bandied about a lot, maybe they're saving one of those roster spots for Dalvin Cook. And even though they parted ways with the 4 straight Pro Bowl, 4 straight 1,000-yard season running back, maybe they could bring him back at a reduced rate, because I think that Dalvin has now seen the running back market for what it is. It's not exactly robusto. He was not going to see his $10.4 million base salary anywhere else in free agency. And it's unfortunate, but running backs are waking up to a harsh reality, is that the league simply does not value their position as much as they used to. And it could be a spot where Dalvin, even though he's guaranteed $2 million from the Vikings no matter where he goes, maybe he does decide to run it back in a scheme that he's familiar with from last year, teammates he's familiar with, a running back room where he's already highly regarded and respected. Never say never. Never say never. And all this huff and puff is like, well, Dalvin will never take a smaller deal. If that's the largest deal on the table or the best situation that he could be in, it's a possibility, man. It certainly is. But as right meow, the Vikings have 2 roster spots open. Again, technically they get to have a 91-man roster, and we're barreling towards training camp, man. Rookies report on Sunday, vets a couple days later, and then we're getting it on. We're getting it on, man. Football is back. There's already some teams that have the full rooster in camp, notably the Jets, even though they're Garbaggio. But really fired up. Let's go, man. Let's go. But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings waive cornerback John Reid, opening up another roster spot on the 90. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, no production value.